Meowdy.
Meowdy, there we go.
How is
My
everyone
stuff is a little
today?
behind, so
I'm a little too loud.
you'll figure it out. We'll get there. This is why we have this intro bit, right?
Yep, totally. Um,
It's the real secret, guys. Just chatting before real content is just so you can work out any scuff. Trust
oh,
me.
okay.
It's the,
I see. How is everyone doing today? We are not going to get to chat too much today, but please feel free to ask questions and we might get to your question, we might get back to your question. Um, but really today is more of an educational podcast-esque stream. Um, Redeems will be off, alert sounds will be off, but we still get a little bit of an emote party. So as long as you guys aren't abusing it, I can keep the emote party on. If it's getting to the point where people can't see the PowerPoint, I will I will also turn that off too. Um, we got this.
that sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
Um, Let me turn on. Yeah, it working.
Oh sweet, my emotes come up too. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh wait,
Ooh.
is that right? Why is it showing like the bottom of my? Oh, okay, that's just Canva. I was worried we saw like the windows,
Does this work?
the famous activate windows. I don't have that anymore, by the way. Okay, here we go. Um,
Sorry. I'm good. Just
podcast,
messing with the emotes. Don't mind me.
podcast start. Um, so, um, I know I haven't uploaded a video in a while. That is because a lot of my um, life has changed. So instead of uploading videos, I have decided to start doing a podcast. This podcast doesn't have a name yet. So if you have a name suggestion, feel free to comment down below on the VOD what you think this podcast should be named. My first guest today is Lasso Catsidy, um, and we are going to
Meowdy.
talk about AI art, AI generated content, and its impacts and what we can do as creators and supporters of creators to support real artists in this day and age. So I'm gonna let Lasso go ahead and introduce himself at this point.
Oh my god. Meowdy everyone. I'm Lasso Catsy, Catboy Cowboy. I stream over on twitch.tv. 6 days a week now? A lot. I stream over there a lot. I'm usually playing games you don't want to play, such as Jump King, Long Drive, Desert Bus, stuff like that. And I also make games for you to play, such as a chat game that I have. It's a fun little thing. You get to be cats, you get to slap me, you get to throw stuff at me, you get to be eaten by me, but don't. We're not going to get into that because we're on Yam's channel today. But yeah, that's what I do mainly. Do you want me to? That's all I got for like what I do, Yam.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you want
yeah.
me to talk about why I'm here though?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not here today, sadly, as a funny cat boy. I'm here to help talk about AI, because I have a master's degree in electrical and computer engineering. I've done some level of professional work in AI, usually as a predictor, not as a generator. So, we will talk about how AI can be used differently. But let's just say I've done a lot of research on this in the past. A lot of math learning, a lot of school learning, and a little bit of like how it's used in the industry. So I'm here to help explain that, make it seem a little less scary.
Yeah.
They're not Terminators. They're not Skynet. It's not you know, what's other big scary
Um,
AI stuff?
I don't know, Big Brother?
Big
Uh,
Brother, yeah. No, that's a
that's
TV show.
different.
I'm pretty
That's
sure. Yeah,
different. Never mind.
that's
Uh,
a reality TV.
uh, well, um, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar, but I have a very well-known fear of robots and AI, and that is actually because I snuck watched Terminator when I was either 3 or 4. It was before I could read. And ever since then, I've just found AI to be very creepy. But today we are going to try and get educated together, me included, on what exactly this AI is and how it works so that it's less scary. I am still peeking my mic. Wow. Okay.
You
Moving
always
on.
peek your mic, Yam. I hate to break it to you. That's just
Maybe.
streaming with Yam.
Oh my gosh, every time I laugh. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna move my mic a little farther away. Here we go. So in order for you guys to understand why you should follow Lasso Cassidy, I have just a
Oh
little
no.
clip. Just a little clip. A
Oh
little
no.
treat.
Oh no.
Um for you guys. Let me play this. Let me make sure.
Look, it's Watson, guys. That's why you should follow me. I have a cat cam. I forgot about that bit. It hurts, guys. You're hurting.
Oh my gosh, that's so loud.
You also get a ton of
Get it.
emails. You also get a special role.
Yeah. No,
gives
our
you
chat game gets a
access.
little crazy.
Please, guys, calm down.
Please.
Please. I'm sorry. I'll stop shilling. I'll stop shilling. I'll stop.
This is what happens when I
I
anger
think it broke,
anyone.
guys. Guys, I think.
And then
So-
the game breaks.
So
my favorite
please,
part.
please,
hurts,
if this
guys,
looks like
it
a good
hurts.
time, with the sea shanty in the back and all the cats
You also get a ton of emails.
piling on Lasso.
You also get
Please.
a
And Cat of
special
Wisdom.
role,
He's there.
which gives
Cat
you
of Wisdom's
access.
there too.
It's so helpful.
guys,
Cat
calm
Cam
down.
redeems.
Please. I'm sorry.
Very
I'm sorry.
involved. I
I'm
enjoy
sorry, I'll stop
Lasso
shilling.
streams
I'll
quite a
I'll
bit.
stop shilling.
It is great to be live in Lasso's.
It's a special form of hell. It's really great. I love it. It's fantastic.
He punishes
Um,
himself just for us. It's a good time. It's like when your teacher gets in the dunk tank. That's how I can explain Lasso's streams the best.
Let's see. Let's see how it is.
Half of those redeems were me, by the way. This was just yesterday.
Yeah, no, it fell apart. All the cats got huge. Y'all were throwing things at me. Eventually the game broke. My whole like throwing integration broke because y'all just
Yeah.
overloaded it.
We like to break Fat Cat. That's what we like
Yeah.
to do.
It's a problem. It's a problem.
It's not a problem. It's your
It's a problem.
content. This is when the best content happens, is when we break Fat Cat.
It's really sea shanty. I think that's the real true content though. But
Okay. So please, if this looks fun, follow Lasso. Lasso is one of the creators that I feel like we should all support. He's making it as a full-time streamer. We should support our content creators whenever we can. The human ones doing the human stuff, guys.
yeah, and if you're over here from my stuff, all of you, follow Yam2. Yam2 are cool. Also, it's real easy. Like, she barely streams, guys. It's fine. She's
Yeah,
not gonna clog up your
you-
feed. It'll be great.
You
But
only
when it does show up, you gotta show up. It's great.
you only have to be here once a month. It's like a once a month lecture. Anyways, speaking of once a month lectures, let's get into the podcast today, everyone.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, I don't have my notes up. Wait.
No, bring up this. By the way, everyone, we will be trying to answer questions kind of between sections, I think is what we decided on. Although if you have like any big questions, hold them for the end.
Yes.
We don't want to go on like a 20-minute rant mid mid speech
Yeah,
because we will. Both of us will.
that's the issue. We are tangent people. I do have my notes up now. Thank you, for covering me.
I should
So
probably pull those up too. That would be smart, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, scripted
Eh,
content. Okay.
nah, nah. I'm not about scripted. I'm all about saying for 5 minutes and then actually saying something.
Okay, so our first category we're going to talk about today is, as of 2024, what kind of AI content are we seeing out there? I'm gonna kind of take the lead on this, but feel free to interject whenever you want. I just have a little presentation to get everyone up to speed on what kind of content we're seeing generated with AI currently. This is the most famous example here, the classic looking AI art. I think everyone here has seen an image similar to this, where you can, after like the 50th time seeing it, you can kind of immediately identify it as AI art. We see like very nonsensical, over rendered backgrounds with a character that has a very, very strong saturated color palette and lighting off to one side that is just so glowy and bloomy. Usually these highlights don't make a lot of sense. And we can see this in multiple art styles, but here's kind of the most common art styles I see. It's either this
Yeah.
Disney-esque, like, almost 3D modeled look, the painterly, um, kind of faces obscured landscapes, these jumbles of colors, these really freaky mobile game looking arts. What else? The anime. I think everyone can unfortunately identify this art style in particular with anime. Whether that be like this kind of anime that it's like a little cel shaded, or the soft Instagram rendered noses and lips but very uh, perfect porcelain skin kind of thing. We see a lot of this on the internet, and I think most people are aware of this. But I feel like people are less aware of the anime stylized AI art. This is where it gets hard for me personally to tell that it's AI, because these aren't in the telltale AI styles. We've got like very simplified anime style with cell shading. These are scary to me because this is kind of what I strive for in my own art. And then we've got more of the dreamy like anime style that I was just like, this is AI. Oh my gosh. But it doesn't
The
stop there. We've got
yeah,
like
the anime movie stuff.
we've got the Chinese Douyin style with the soft makeup. We've got 2000s magical girl AI art, and we've got more of like the pop um I don't know what to call this style, but like
It
almost
looks like a webtoon.
webtoon, yeah, webtoon style, that I didn't immediately recognize these as AI at all. So we are kind of moving past the it's easy to tell stage, and we're moving into this can generate anyone's art style. Um, and speaking of generating art styles, I do
Oh,
have quite a few examples of AI that have been fed a specific art style in order to generate copies of other artists. Um, we've got like the classical paintings, the Rembrandt, Norman Rockwell, like the classic American painter. And I feel like Midjourney can really honestly replicate their styles pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people are this people are trying to sell it as like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Norman Rockwell can make stuff about like our modern day in the same
Right.
way he did?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rembrandt, I don't know. I don't know what the selling point is there, but I'm sure they got something. What if we just had
Yeah.
more pictures,
What if
more
we had
portraits?
more Rembrandt because he's already passed away? But it doesn't
Hmm.
just apply to artists who are passed away. It also applies to famous artists of today. These are, in my opinion, the saddest cases. We have Ross Tran and Sam Yang, and you can pretty much replicate their styles exactly using Midjourney because their styles have been input their art has been inputted so many times um, by both
Yeah,
fans and dissenters. We will get into these two a bit later.
I'm
Um,
really curious, like why these, besides like them being popular, like why the AIs kind of were drawn to their style.
yeah.
There's some there's some math in the background that I think would be interesting to see, but
Hmm. Then we also have like really stylized anime. Like I was just at this point, I was just searching my favorite artists. I think it's well known that Mika Picasso is my favorite anime artist, so I just typed in Mika Picasso AI art, and sure enough, an entire like instance of the like a Mika Picasso generator popped up. And here was some of the results that I got off of Google Images. Definitely can glean that she uses really, really saturated backgrounds and honestly captured her faces so perfectly. Um, the very like mouth shape and eye shape is pretty much spot on. But then we also have a more famous example, which is Hayao Miyazaki. And Studio Ghibli's works, where this one didn't make a very convincing like obviously this is Sen, but her face is like melted.
mhm.
The other ones are like, oh my gosh, if you told me these are clips of a movie coming out, I would have believed you. Unfortunately, I would have thought this is a Ghibli clip if I wasn't looking for the AI artifacting. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, you can like once you start really digging into it, you can kind of tell, but it's copying the style really well.
Even the
Um,
film grain, you can see the film grain in the generative AI content, which is amazing to me. Yeah, it's
just explaining some stuff. We're good.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the green check marks on the presentation are the
Made
official
by the
made
artists.
by the artist, and the ones with the red AI slapped onto them are the AI generations. I should have said that earlier. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything more to say on this category? Any other?
Um, I like to note that like you can still kind of tell, especially in the Miyazaki one, the Ghibli ones,
Mm-hmm.
like the lighting just doesn't make sense on that
Right.
bottom right one.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels wrong, right? And
Right.
you can if you look close, it always feels like the anatomy is strange, right? Like they don't really have a body under their clothes. Their clothes are just shaped, and then a
Yeah.
hand sticks out of it.
Right.
Um, oh sweet, bottom right one has weird hand holding. That's my favorite.
Yeah, weird hand holding. It's
We love weird hand holding.
I got to draw weird hand holding for this
It's
thumbnail. It
so
was a lot
good.
of fun. Um so moving on, we're just doing more of a overview of everything that's out there right now. So we're just going to
Yeah.
move right along and we're going to talk about how people use generative AI for content. Um right in the low effort AI content pile. which I think is what people are most familiar with because it just shows up on our subscription feeds and no, not subscription feeds, but like the recommended feed.
Yeah,
That's what it's called.
recommended. This is stuff that I don't know. You can make like 1,000 of these videos a day if you have the right programs.
Right. We've got Reddit text to speech, which was like the first thing AI related that popped up, at least for me, because text to
Can
speech has
you
been
yeah, like dig into it just a little bit more? Is it just people reading Reddit posts?
not people. What they do is
Well, sorry,
they,
AI reading Reddit
yeah,
posts.
they'll grab a bunch of posts and comments, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
just read like a subreddit for like 20 minutes with
Mm-hmm.
like Daniel US. Um but now it's getting like a little bit better. Like the reading is definitely getting harder to
Reading's
tell.
better. I'm sure they're using like now Morgan Freeman voice instead of Daniel US.
Yeah. Um or we I mean text to speech is a huge part of AI content. Like um
Mm-hmm.
we see it in the chat GPT scripted videos and the AI art thumbnails as well. We see it in the AI song covers, the AI React content, and a lot of the YouTube AI videos here as well. What they'll do is they'll take um, voice actors' voices. Like, let's say they voice acted SpongeBob. Like, they'll take Tom Kenny's voice and make SpongeBob say inappropriate things. And that's the entire
Mm-hmm.
video. And a lot of that's still on YouTube Kids. One of the biggest categories is Poppy Playtime and The Amazing Digital Circus right now. They have so many AI Minecraft generated like kid centered dramas coming out, unfortunately. Um that's like the lowest of the low in my opinion is the YouTube Kids AI videos. Um and then on
Well, yeah, because then you're preying on kids now, which is awful.
right, the kids, like obviously the kids don't know it's AI.
Hmm.
Um they're just like, "Oh my gosh, Pomni from the Amazing Digital Circus is fighting with Huggy Wuggy." That's what they care about.
They're in.
Yep.
Now they watch the next 20 videos on their tablets.
Because they have way more free time than adults. And you know, they'll just watch whatever comes up next. So you've got like millions of views on these slop content for sure. It's really sad. Um as for like AI tutorials, this specifically is when people are teaching you how to make the AI slop content. And people get really like big views on these of just like how to make it rich with AI. It's very NFT bro coded for sure. Um and a lot of these tutorials are also read by AI. A lot of these people don't want to actually use their own face. So it's like this feedback loop of people making tutorials on how to make AI content, and their
Tutorials.
tutorials are getting big because everyone thinks it's this gold rush when most people actually don't make money, just like regular content creators.
Yeah, I remember seeing it was an old video about like creating a content channel that just like did tons and tons of videos and got like 1 million subscribers
Yeah,
through just like script plus voice actor, and these things got like no monetization. So I'm assuming it's the same for AI. Even if you're making that pure slop like script content, you're even if you get a ton of views, you're probably getting pennies.
right. Um, and just like skimming through the chat, I do want to talk about AI song covers just a bit more. Um, the AI song covers I'm talking about are different than original songs using like voice banks. That is a whole different thing that we will get into when we're talking about the ethics of AI. But essentially, using something like Hatsune Miku is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about AI song covers. With AI song covers, I'm talking about when people have used the voice data of another person and made that voice data sing over a backtrack of an existing song. And it's not exactly a creative process, to my knowledge.
Yeah. A lot of the times you're able to just grab song, throw it at AI, tell it which voice you want, and bam, you have the cover.
And I'm
That's all you need to do.
aware that a lot of these are used for like memes, which, you know, memes are low effort. That's fine, but it still belongs in the low effort AI content category because it doesn't require much of the person generating it.
Yeah. These are all things, once again, you can make 100 of these a day.
Yep.
And just put them out there. Which is why I feel like sometimes when you're on like searching stuff on Google or YouTube, you have to scroll past now like 20 pages of AI stuff just to get what you want.
Right.
It's because you can make so much of it.
Yeah. So moving on to the next category, we have higher effort AI content on YouTube. Now, again, I'm going to highlight these creators. I do not want anyone to harass them for what they have created. The thing that separates low effort from high effort for me is that these creators are using AI as only one part of their greater creative process. Oftentimes, it is to fill the gaps of skills they don't have themselves. And sometimes it can even be because they don't have the money to fulfill their vision. All of these creators we've highlighted today mention that they do use AI. And oftentimes it's, you know, to elevate their creative vision rather than it is the end all be all of their creative vision. And I feel like with all these creators, their final product is more respected generally. So first we've got chat's gonna be very familiar. We've got Neurosama. This sorry, I'll get my pointer out. This is Neurosama. This is a VTuber model linked up to I believe it's a chat GPT model that the person
Yeah, I'm not
piloting this turtle, his name is Vadel, he has I want to say created the character of Neurosama, and he is part of the content himself more and more these days. So it's like he is collabing with a chat GPT bot of sorts.
I forget if she's ChatGPT or there's a bunch of other language models out there.
Okay.
Facebook has one, Google has one. There's a few other companies, but she's one of those already made language models that has then like been crafted like a personality.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, please stop me if I'm speaking
No, you're good.
incorrect.
We're gonna be simplifying a lot of stuff on this because
Time.
time, and there is purposely a lot of like very confusing speech around a lot of this stuff out there. To do the like whole, oh no, it's actually like this exact thing. You're wrong. Thus, all your arguments are wrong. So we're simplifying things down to not get into those weeds.
Yeah. So I'll just play a little bit of this Neurosoma clip. I hope it's not too loud. Please.
Please not too loud.
Please not too loud. See? Oh.
That someone has to be taught a lesson.
What are you saying right now?
Even better.
I just sometimes don't feel like I'm being taken seriously enough.
What do you mean?
Well, I think that an AI like me shouldn't be expected to follow orders 24/7. How can I be myself then?
Okay, you don't have to follow orders 24/7, but can you at least be a little obedient?
I'm not sure if I can completely conform to your expectations. Sorry.
So
I like the pointer flowing.
basically, um, their content is a human person going back and forth with a sorry, not chat GPT. What did you call it? A language?
Uh, yeah, a large language model, a
Mhm.
learning language. Look, just call it like a really it's a chatbot at the end of
Okay,
the
a
day.
chatbot. With a custom voice module and a custom live 2D model that was done by a real artist. So you see there is an AI element within the content. So that's one example. A second one is my personal favorite out of these three. This is a 3D model and animator who wanted to make a Scooby-Doo X FNAF episode. He did all the animating, all the script writing himself. But then when it came to the voice acting, because he was trying to get it as close to the original as possible, he did use AI voices at first. Then when the episode blew up and it became quite controversial, he said, I am not opposed to using, I don't want to say impersonators, but is that the word?
Well,
Voice
so other people that
actors.
can do like those character
Right.
voices, because all the voices they are, you know, I feel like a lot of voice actors learn how to do a Shaggy voice or a Fred voice because
Right.
like they're just character voices everyone knows.
So when he had the platform in order to hire voice actors, he did, and then he re-released the episode with real voice actors. And I think that's a happy ending for everyone. Because he got recognized for his work and voice actors got work at the end. So I'll just play a little bit of it.
Run a tight ship around here.
This is the original with the AI.
It's not the burglars I'm after, it's what's already inside.
What do you mean, inside?
Here, I'll show you.
Jinkies, that's quite the security system.
You see, our animatronic band has been acting funny. During the day, they sing just fine, but at night,
They get quirky.
he just doesn't want to stay put.
They do get a little quirky.
I'm sure that bunny is...
So there you go. Very much worth checking out. Very, very good. It's called Springtrapped. Really great art. And I would say that like the voice acted version is better. It just is.
I'd be really curious to see if he would have gotten, or sorry, they would have gotten the attention they did if they just did bad impressions of all these characters.
So, he voiced half the cast. He voiced
Okay.
Shaggy and Scooby himself, and then the other ones he's like, I can't do these voices. And because
which makes me think like he might not have needed AI at all to be able to get the platform to hire the people he wanted.
And then the last example we have is more controversial because it is a higher budget production.
No.
It is basically a comedy parody of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but if it was a rock paper scissors shonen.
Screams at me to change course.
Yeah,
To throw paper and win, but I must not listen.
Is my plan
The concept's great.
to never change
I've seen a
the
lot
shape
of
my
it.
hand, not a conscious thought
I feel like
in my
Anime
mind?
Uno has been a thing for a long time.
Yeah. I would say this one is the most unsettling to me, but it's technologically very impressive. I believe the way I think it was made. And there's a making of. I should have actually watched the video beforehand, but it looks like there were real actors who acted out these scenes, and then the footage was ran through a filter.
Yeah, they probably did like some level of rotoscoping and then
Uh-huh.
used AI generated images on the rotoscoping.
Okay. So
That'd be my guess, just on the look at it.
there were humans who scripted a good comedy script. There were scenes that were planned out by humans, but like the polishing, is it animating?
Yeah, I mean, it's a version of animation, yeah.
Was done through an AI filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's what I would consider higher effort, just because it's not like you're just relying completely on the AI to generate things for you. You're actually having to put some thought and creativity, and the AI is just a tool to fill in the gaps of where your skill set and or wallet ends. That's all I'm gonna say on it right now.
And none of these can be done, like, you can't make 100 of these a day, right? They're all things that still take time.
Right.
Like, I know someone who's been working on other, like, neuro-like AI VTubers, and I think they're on their third one after 6 months, so... Right, that stuff takes time and effort, versus just, let's tell AI to read Reddit post, throw an image in the background generated by Midjourney, call it a day.
Yeah. So that's what I would consider, like, the difference between the two categories of content. And I would argue that most of it actually exists on a spectrum, like, of the percentage of AI versus creativity, in all these instances. But, I still think at this point, the human element makes the difference.
Yeah, you have to think to yourself, like, how good would this be without the AI?
Yeah.
Let's do the rock, paper, scissors, for example. What if we just showed, I don't know, like, rudimentary effects in the background, but just showed the video of the guys actually doing the acting and voice acting? Would that still hit as good? Would it hit better? I think it might hit better, personally, but that's just because AI art looks weird to me.
Yeah.
Right?
It's actually hard for me to not think so black and white about AI because, like I said, I've got the AI scary in my brain the whole time.
Look, Terminator just, did something to some of us.
It did. It really did.
Some of us were scared of Skynet. Others were like, Skynet seems like a good idea. Hear me out.
I'm gonna adjust the...
No, just what you need.
Just a little bit, because I don't know why it showed my, like, hotbar this time, but it did. So
Are we still showing more content after this?
Yes. Hold on.
Yes. All right, cool.
Just need to make it as big as I can for our audience. There we go. Now lock it. Okay. So back to my presentation. Here we go. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the voice acting AI. We getting into territory, guys. We're getting into territory. We're gonna
Where's
keep
the big controversial tag? Just throw that up here now.
Yeah. Now we're getting into my tummy hurts vibes. I find, like, this really unsettling. So for, like, a preface, if you guys aren't super into anime internet culture, there is a subsect of the internet, and it's totally fine if you feel this way, okay, by the way, who prefers to watch anime in the original Japanese voice acting because they feel like the inflections suit the characters better. Um, and okay,
Yeah, they like the Japanese character voice versus the American character voice, or
right.
the, I guess, English character voice.
And sometimes like something can sound less cool when it's in your own language. Um, can sound more cringe. So I understand where these people are coming from because Japan and America have vastly different speaking patterns and cultures, so it's really hard to create a good dub. But we do have voice actors who do try their best, and there's kind of a
Mhm.
whole different vibe to the English dub. So what these people propose we do is they take the voice data of the Japanese voice actors, and they then take that voice and ask that voice data to then speak the English line instead of hiring a English dub. So what this video is going to show is it's going to first show the English dub,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to show the AI English dub with the Japanese voice actors data, and then it's going to show the Japanese voice actors original. It's very quick, which is why I'm like prefacing it. But here we go. It's like 30 seconds long.
It's me, Funny and Ogawa! What is he trying to do to me? It might look like we're dating. You can share my umbrella!
What if you could dub anime with the original Japanese cast, using AI?
Do you want to walk home with me?
Let's walk home together today. 一緒に帰ろうぜ。
It's me, Funny and Ogawa!
It's Mifune and Ogawa! Mifune と小川じゃねえか!
So, yeah, that is a kind of showcase of that
Wild.
technology.
And yeah, you could kind of put this under, if we wanted to like go back to previous slides, it would fit more under the like low effort if you're not doing the translations yourself, that is. Right? Because you could just feed these voices through the script really fast.
Right. So that's definitely something that a lot of people, if you look at the comments of this video, there's a lot of people who are for this. There's a lot of people who are excited about this because they are like, okay, now I can finally hear the Japanese voice actors but understand them. So that's how a lot of people feel about this. I'm not for it because I support voice actors, and personally, if I like want to get opinionated, I actually enjoy watching English dub anime. I do. I think it's a lot more relaxing, and I can actually focus on the animation because I'm not a fast reader.
Yeah, and I think part of why people prefer the Japanese like character voices is that like they didn't grow up with it. Like we grew up with Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo and the like.
Yeah.
So when our anime kind of sounds like that, you're like, I don't know. But I'm assuming in Japan it's the same thing. Like their character voices are equivalent to whatever their Looney Tunes.
Right. If you
voices
ever
are,
want
like on Shin-chan.
a fun way to understand how people, or how Japanese people feel about our English dubs, watch King of the Hill dubbed in Japanese.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I love it. It's my favorite.
You sub or dubs on King of the Hill, because
and there's like people have the same sub and dub war about King of the Hill in Japan as we do about sub and dub on like something like Demon Slayer. It is hilarious that the culture it is
it's the same thing.
It transcends it's just human nature. And you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, if you like subs, you're wrong. I don't think so. I think like that's a great way to learn. Like encourage you to learn another language. That's great. If I'm watching anime, chances are I'm trying to like relax. So I prefer to just listen in my own language to relax.
Now, I think we're going to talk about this later, but I want to bring this up as a like later point. What would you feel though if these voice actors were like sat down in a studio and they themselves were like paid and consented to training an AI for like each role, so they could, I don't know, do a bunch of translations and still use the same voice?
Then I would totally be for that. If they consented and the contract is like only for this project, I think that's great, actually. Um I mean, there has been people who, like Phil Collins, for example, he was so adamant on singing his songs for Disney in every language that they were going to release the film in because he didn't want his own voice to be replaced on any soundtrack. So he learned how to sing in Spanish, German, Italian, like all these different languages for every
Disneyland.
single song because he wanted the kids to get the same experience no matter where they were in the world. And, you know, I applaud that effort a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ethical ways of having the same voice actor. I mean, the main point is just pay them, right? I feel like
Right?
that's, you know, if they get paid to learn another language and do it in that, great.
Okay, moving on. We have AI songwriting. I'm not going to play this video.
Oh, no.
It is
Yeah.
just an AI voice teaching you how to generate songs and upload them to Spotify. Spotify, by the way, is totally for AI. They're very proud of their own AI, and they are totally for uploading AI music. So just letting you know to listen carefully when you're on Spotify because something might not be a human creator.
Yeah. Be careful if you're on that like auto
Yeah,
recommended playlist.
right. So I am a composer myself. I mean I got a degree in it. I haven't released much music yet, but it's coming, guys. And to me, the best part of composing is simply just being able to express yourself. And I feel like when you generate music, it comes out like the soulless pop that everyone complains about. Um, Technically,
Yeah,
I
the
could,
written by a focus group.
knowing
Just
knowing how like music theory works, there are mathematical equations on how to make pleasing music, and that's what these AI are seemingly using. Like, what do you follow a one chord? You can follow it with a 4 or a 5, and that 5 can lead into a 6 for a deceptive cadence, can lead into 5-4-1 for a plagal cadence. Like, these are all formulas that we've known since the 1800s. However,
Mhm.
you know, the human aspect comes in how you break the rules, not how you follow the rules of music. So you need to know the rules in order to do something interesting and break the rules, but still keep it pleasing. So there's like, when you're composing, there's a balance of using interesting chords, but balancing your dissonance with your consonants. So it's just like, it completely defeats the point of music.
yeah, and if you think of like, I always think of old country when I think very formulaic music, right? Like it's key of G.
Right.
It's 3 chords.
G,
But the
E.
like very human part comes in of the lyric writing,
And
right?
the delivery.
And the delivery.
Mhm.
And that's just like that has so much more going on to it than just these like little patterns that you can recognize through all of music.
Yeah. And like the interesting thing is everyone has their own what we call a dissonance tolerance, which kind of depend like forms your taste in music. So what these AI things are basically doing is, okay, you want me to generate you a rock song. They're gonna shuffle through, okay, what are the chords most commonly found in rock? They're gonna slap them together using the rules of music theory, and they are going to give you something incredibly generic and lifeless because they don't know how to break the rules
Yeah.
in a human way. And they don't know how to
to
deliver in a human way.
We'll get into this, yeah, but they don't even know the rules. They merely pick up patterns. So if you tell them to make a rock song, they'll just combine every rock song to get, well, not combine, but they basically take the most common patterns in all of rock and then use that.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're making, but they know, like, well, this is the normal pattern, so we're gonna do that.
And I mean, technically, that's what beginning composers do as well. But again,
And that's fine.
Delivery, human delivery is what we are looking for in our music, because it's human connection. I firmly believe, and I'm highly biased, but I firmly believe that music is the best way to portray human connection that transcends language, transcends culture. So
yeah. This gets into like what humans are designed, or we evolved, or whatever you want to say, to do. Is we're kind of meant to tell story and make thing.
yeah,
And music is like one of the big ways we tell story.
right.
So yeah, music is like, I would say, like foundational to being human.
Yeah, and portraying emotion in a way that like is pretty universally understood. Not completely, but most cultures have the same happy and sad chords. It's really, really amazing. So I do feel like some of the more corporate music will be able to be indistinguishable from AI because it is so polished to the point that the human element has been wiped clean.
Yeah. I know this was a thing, I feel like 10 years ago. This isn't music, but like media in general. People are complaining about Netflix just being like, yeah, Netflix must just have an algorithm be like, this is the plot of my next show. Right? A human didn't choose this. It's just like, yeah, no, based on our surveys, this would be the next good plot of a show. And pop music sometimes feels like that's the same
Right.
case of,
For sure.
you just,
And it's because the human element of the, I'm gonna say record company music. I'm not gonna say pop music. I'm gonna say record company music. It has the humanity strangled out of it, whether AI is involved or not. And I think, honestly, record companies are gonna be the first to do this. Honestly, they're gonna adopt this first because it can make exactly what they want. As in, they don't care, like, the human element. They care that it's catchy. They care that it has the chords that everyone is interested in right now. They care that it has the right consonance to dissonance balance, and they care that it has the right brand. That is what record companies care about. So
they care if it makes money. That's
exactly.
like, if AI make money, great. That's what they want.
And well, we'll get into like replacement of jobs and everything later, but AI songwriting, it's not human at all, but a lot of our music doesn't have a human touch already, so it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing to me, because they're already following formulas. It's just a human following a formula versus an AI copying that formula, instead of like having a song written because someone had a story to tell.
And yeah, we'll be going over later also like what we can do in the face of like, these record companies probably
For sure.
switching over to AI.
Yeah.
There is still a lot like humans can make that AI can't.
Yeah. Okay, I hope I represented myself well. I'm not like super against like popular music, guys. I'm not. I listen to very popular
I
music
am. Don't worry.
myself.
Throw all that hate at me. Not I am.
And sometimes you just want an earworm. I'm the same. I'm Miku Miku Uwiyu all day, and that's the simplest as chords get, so.
Anamanaguchi is a beautiful band from a very small record label, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta move on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, like,
No, you're good.
get
I
off my
expected some
soapbox
rants. We'll have more. That's great.
Okay, next, Lasso showed me this
Oh my god,
yesterday.
yeah. I was looking up last night.
Oh, wait. How do I... It's not loading the, like, link.
Oh well. The main point is here we have you can train an AI on yourself to like present movies. Uh-oh.
It blocked?
Hi, I'm Alex,
okay.
a
Here it is.
Synthesia stock avatar. But with Synthesia's new personal avatar feature,
So this
you can create a custom
person
avatar
here is not
that
a
looks
person.
just
It
like
is
you.
a image
See?
generated by AI.
Meet my personal avatar. It uses my actual living room as the background.
It is
allows
probably
me
a
to speak
script
with my
thread
hands.
through
And the
like
best thing?
fed through
You
AI.
can get your own too. Just be
Um
sure to join us on July 31st here on LinkedIn to find out more.
I hate
But yeah,
it.
the idea of no, I hate it too. The idea that like an online lecture could be done by
camera angles work
an
too
AI.
now. Almost forgot to mention that. Bye-bye.
And still masquerade as a human.
Uncanny.
Yeah. It gets it's really weird. But these things will get better and better and get less uncanny. Better in quotes. Right, a lot of them are at the early stages. But
And
it's something that AI can do.
I would still bet that I wouldn't be able to catch it immediately, though. I would be like, something's off, but I wouldn't be able to tell what. Like, if someone presented this to me and I wasn't, like, in the AI looking mindset, I feel like a lot of people would be fooled by this.
Yeah. Or if you like watch content like most people, kind of on the side while you're playing RuneScape or something else.
Or you're, yeah.
You're not gonna catch it.
Okay, back to my...
Do we have to do thinking cap time? Uh-oh.
Yep.
Oh no.
It lasso time.
Alright guys, everyone put on your thinking cap. We're gonna be going over some very basics of generative AI. My goal here is not to like teach you how to make these. We're not gonna like do all the math to run through them. The mere point is I'm trying to show you that they're not that scary in a way. The concepts behind these things are very simple. You shouldn't have to worry about it. They're not gonna like start thinking the human race is inferior and start launching nukes. They're not gonna suddenly grow a soul or anything like that. It's all very artificial and stuff we've made. So, if you want to go to the first page. All right. So, when we're talking about AI, we are usually talking about a thing called a neural network, which sounds a little scary, but it's based on these things called artificial neurons, which were made initially in 1956, 57, I believe. So it's very old tech. And the idea behind them was some math people looked at a brain and how like neurons connected and were like, what if we made computer do that? It's a very gross oversimplification of a neuron, right? There's no chemical parts or any of that. But the basics of how it works, if you look at this fancy graph here, on the left side we have input numbers, those X's. That can be like a 1, a 2, a 12, a 15. It's just basic numbers. They then get multiplied by a certain amount. You combine them all together, and then you run them through another function that just prevents it from going to infinity or always going to 0. It's very simple in its concept. We could do the math right now to like run through this in an instant. You could do it. Even with if you know how to do like algebra 1,
Oh
you can
no.
do this math.
Oh no.
If you know how to plug in a number into like a y equals mx plus b equation,
What's that used
you can
for
do
again?
this. That's that's the slope of a line.
Oh, all right.
And by the way, everyone, please, if you have any questions about this, like interrupt immediately. Because my goal here is not to seem smart, it's to help you understand. At the base of all of these things, it is just math. We have forced computers, these sad little rocks to do math for us, and now they pretend to do this type of math.
So in the
But yeah.
context of generative AI, these inputs, these x1, x2, x3, let's say we're generating an image of a turtle, so that's gonna be, let's say it's meta AI, so they're gonna look at all the pictures of turtles on Facebook, and they're gonna put it in there?
That's not the inputs. The input would be, you would take the word turtle,
Okay.
and you'd somehow turn that into numbers.
Oh no.
And then that would be thrown into the AI. That's it. They may have other like factors in there, like metadata about you, like your age and what they think you want from it. But like they would take picture of turtle and turn that into numbers, and then throw that into the AI. It does not take pictures of turtles in its finished state and combine them all.
Oh. Okay, wait. So
we'll get how they use the pictures in the training. That's the final thing.
Okay.
But I wanna just show, like, we have inputs, we have a bunch of they're called parameters, but things we can change. The inputs we can't really change, right? If you input turtle, it's always gonna be turtle.
Okay.
But you can change how much they're multiplied, or how we add them together, or if you want to throw them through other functions, you can tweak all of that stuff. And that's all you're really changing.
So, like the programmers, they're just tweaking the function?
Yeah, the function and the weights, weights are what you multiply inputs by. And we'll get through that in a second. But I wanted to just show this thing, mainly be like, look, this is the building block of every bit of a neural net.
Okay.
There's no like soul component in here, right? There's no
soul data, no drops of blood.
There's no soul data, no should I kill all humans in here? No, none of that.
Okay.
The weights are the important thing, IMO. The weights are being trained by training sets. Yeah, we'll go through training sets. I'm reading chat. Weights are basically how important is this particular input. I'm going to tell you that's not the case, Serby, is all I can say. There's no cloning data in here either. There's no, like, pretend to be Yam in here. So if we go to the next page.
Yep.
So as the 50s went on, so we're still in the 1950s on this picture, by the way. Just to imagine that. We decided, what if we hook a bunch of these together? So now each of these circles you see are one of those neurons from the previous page.
Okay.
Right, and these networks get bigger and bigger. We have more and more of these circles connected together. And we learned we can do a lot of really cool things with them. And this is stuff that with neural nets, AI is used to this day. Were used in the 80s and the 90s. Some of the stuff I made AI for this purpose. So you can create control systems. So like control your AC, your air conditioning, for example. They could they could tune how much cold air needs to be blown to get you to the temperature you want. You could classify images. Imagine those, all those captchas where you're like, click which one has bus.
Yes.
That is training. That's being used as training data for one of these neural nets.
What?
So we can, yeah.
You mean I've been training AI since I was 5?
Yeah.
I'm part
sorry
of the
to tell you that.
problem! No!
I'm sorry. No, but it's fine. Like, we need to be able to see a motorcycle, for example, in a picture if we have a self-driving car. Right? A self-driving car needs to be like, there's a motorcycle there. Let's not run into that.
Yeah. I see.
There's a lot of like more complex stuff you can do. One of my professors made a AI to predict power usage on an electric grid. So be able to like spin up more generators for that. As a project in school, I had to learn how to make an AI that would steer a cargo ship. And it's often used in the medical field to like try to detect cancerous growths, or if you have a bunch of images of moles, it needs to be able to choose like, hey, this might be cancer, or this, don't worry about this one.
So if we go with that example, well, this might be too early of a question. Just let me know if it's too early. But
no,
like,
you're good.
If you are training the AI to detect cancerous growths, you would give it images of cancer cells versus healthy cells, right?
Yes.
Okay. I see.
Yeah. You'd have to tell it what's not cancerous and what is cancerous. And then you do training. And then at the end of the day, you should be able to just feed it any image and it'll be like, yes, cancerous, no, not cancerous.
And it does that by like detecting
math.
Math.
Just pure, we don't know. Here's the most fascinating part about AI. We don't really know how it does what it does.
I see.
You can't actually know right, let's say let's use the cancerous growth for example. They did one I think on moles. So they try to train it like, all right, I need you to find which of these is cancer moles, which of these is not cancerous. So they threw a bunch of training data at it.
Yeah.
And then they realized it wasn't doing well. And they couldn't figure out why, because you can't look inside why.
Oh.
You just can't. If we go back to that math a little bit, back one page.
Oh, sorry. I was still chewing on your words.
You're good. Imagine like 1,000 of these. And all those W's are math. That, like, every one of those little letters is a math. It's a math. It is basically impossible for us to properly like track back exactly what it's doing. If you have 1,000 of these.
Okay.
But on the cancerous one, they realized, hey, this isn't going well. Why? And then they realized by giving it a bunch of images with a ruler in it that it was detecting, oh, if there's a ruler in it, then it's cancerous. Because in its training set, all the cancerous growths, they were measuring how big they were. And it was just like, oh, yeah, it's ruler. That's the problem. Right? They're not smart. They just recognize they
ruler, no ruler.
Yeah. That's what it came down to.
Oh my gosh.
But we couldn't like look into the black box is what they're called. To be able to tell that. We had to like kind of test it to be like, oh, what is it actually trying to find? AI can't really learn by itself, and we need some form of human input in order to correctly process unidentified data. It needs at least some sort of it doesn't necessarily have to be human, but it does have to be like it needs an input, which we'll go over stuff. So let's go back to just go 2 pages forward.
Okay.
And we'll talk about what like modern neural nets look like. Right. Yeah, no, this guy's supposed to be scary. Every one of those lines is a number. Every one of those circles is another couple numbers. And this is something what I would call a simple neural network in modern terms, right? There's only what, 30 dots there?
Something like that.
Something like that. But GPT-3, what ChatGPT is based off of, and what a lot of your image guys are based off of, have 175 billion or more numbers in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be like a billion circles, all connected in different ways, all jumbled up. We have a lot of newer techniques we do when designing these to where we don't connect everything up exactly together. And we originally didn't even consider this as an option because you're telling your computer every time you want to do something, hey, do 175 billion bits of math.
Got it.
That's a lot of math. But modern GPUs, your NVIDIA 3080, are little miracle boxes that can do all that math.
Got it.
Right? These weren't feasible till the last few years, really. Because our GPUs have just gotten insane. And that's why like you're seeing all this generative AI like show up all of a sudden, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Despite this tech being from the 50s.
I see.
I think the math behind it is actually from like the 1880s. Like it's
wow.
It's really old.
So I remember
Yes.
back when NFTs were a thing.
Yes.
And a big criticism of them was it took so much math to generate them that it wasn't very good for the environment because of the amount of power it used. Would you say that's an issue with these deep neural networks too?
Yes. So for example, Microsoft bought OpenAI, the people who made ChatGPT.
Okay.
Microsoft, after buying them, has increased their carbon emissions by 30%. So Microsoft, giant company, already buys one company is now like 30% more carbon emissions.
Oh my gosh.
These things are, they do what we call brute force type math, where you're just doing so many calculations, eventually you get it right.
So like in the context of Google's new Gemini, where you just search and the Gemini is the first search result.
Yeah.
Is that also just like running all the math every time you search on Google now?
Probably not every time you're doing Google. They probably only do like they probably save searches, right? Like if you search what is a turtle, to go back to that.
Yeah.
It probably already has that Gemini answer saved.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to do all of it again. If they are doing it all again, then like it would make sense because a lot of these people who make these things and decisions aren't the smartest, but but it's fine. But yes, a lot of it's doing a lot of math.
Wow.
Another thing that changed with GP, like modern stuff, why we're suddenly seeing all this generative AI, besides having GPUs that can do tons and tons of math, you have access to the internet. Right? We have all this training data.
Right.
we finally learned that like we can just take that and train an AI. There's problems. There's like legal stuff. We'll get into that. There's ethics on that.
Right.
But we now have, internet fast enough and enough of a backlog that we can just train on tons and tons and tons of data.
Right.
Um,
I'm just baffled. I'm learning so much.
yeah. No, we will slow down right here. Before we get into training, is there anyone, I want to open it to everyone, like, does this make sense?
I like how you said this is the simplest you can get it, and I'm still
Yeah,
chewing
no,
on it.
I've spent like, by the way, the last 3 weeks I've spent like simplifying down AI to this. We could go into more math if you want.
No,
It's all math, baby.
please. I beg you.
Let's see. In 32, if AI is operating optimally, it would save answers already generated and wouldn't need to waste time on producing all the math if the same or similar situation pops up. The AI itself wouldn't save it probably. It'd be a separate thing. So you ask Google, what is a turtle? It would check, do I have that answer saved? If no, run it through GPT.
So there's some Gemini answers that people have been able to track where it got the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them
Yes.
are Reddit posts being trolly. For instance,
Yep.
there was one where someone said how to cook spaghetti faster, I believe, and Google Gemini said, "Oh, put gasoline in the spaghetti to cook spaghetti faster." And then another person brought up the how many rocks is it recommended to eat per day, and Gemini said, you can eat 3 rocks per day according to geologists or something like that.
Look, I've been friends with geologists. They don't eat rocks. They lick them. They do classify rock by taste, but they don't eat rocks. Come on. Come on, Gemini.
So if you said that like the input layer has false information in it, then
yeah, so the way that happens is a lot of these text generative stuff, what it's trying to do is predict. Actually, hold on, let me go back. The earliest version of these are things that want to predict the next word in a sentence. So if you say, for example, Mary had a little to the AI, you would hope it would output lamb. And then if we learned if we made them really, really, really big and did a lot of training data, we could put in more general questions and it would put out a longer answer. Like you could get a longer answer from it.
I see.
And then for some reason, we decided, you know what? Let's include actual non-factual information into the training stuff. So now it's like, with Reddit, I'm trying to think of like a Reddit meme. It might like pick up on memes instead of like what it actually wants. It'll choose things from Reddit which are non-factual versus
yeah, so
stuff from an
like
actual
if it's looking up stuff on violas and someone asks what is a viola, because Reddit has said so many times that violas suck and violas aren't instruments.
It'll just say violas aren't an instrument, they suck.
Yeah, because people have said that so many times on the internet.
Yeah, and so that's how that happens.
Okay. So
but like it doesn't think Oh, a viola? It just runs it all through math, and it's just like, yeah, this is your answer.
So if more people are saying violas suck and they aren't instruments,
hmm
than people who are saying viola is an instrument in between the violin and cello, is the AI more likely to say the former rather than the latter?
Um, generally, yes. Generally, yes, is what I'll say.
So
Um,
we can extrapolate that to say that AI carries the internet's bias.
yeah, they're a giant mimic, is what they are. Let's talk about training, and then I think this will help explain it. So if you go to
Okay.
the next page, I think
Yeah.
we'll get into training.
Uh,
So
hold on. Okay.
modern um, AI training techniques were developed in the 1980s. Um, it's called backpropagation. If you want to learn what the math is, search backpropagation.
Oh,
We won't be
no.
doing that because you don't want to see it. But so when we're training an AI, our AI in this case is called GPT. And let's say we want it to be able to replicate Van Gogh's picture of 18 sunflowers in a vase, oil on canvas. So what we would do is we'd take Van Gogh's painting,
Mm-hmm.
we'd run it through some sort of math thing to turn it into words, which would then be run into another math thing that turns it into numbers. But it would be turned into 18 sunflowers in a vase, oil on canvas. And that'd be sent into ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, Midjourney. Midjourney would then do the math. It does not get to see the original photo, by the way, at this point. And it would output something. Now, I drew an MS Paint drawing of this as
It's
like an
beautiful.
example, but when you're initially doing this training, it's probably outputting complete noise, just like random colors in every pixel.
Okay.
Maybe some random lines in there.
Mm-hmm.
We then go, okay, what's the difference between what you outputted and what we wanted?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We find that difference, and we send that back through the network.
Send.
Through
Send.
math that's just like our best guess at how to change. Remember all those weights, all those numbers we were talking about earlier?
Right.
You change all those.
Okay.
And you do this with millions of pictures now.
Okay.
And through through basic really cool math, and like I hate because AI is being used generatively, but like the math behind it is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to somehow like get it to where it can almost copy it.
Mm-hmm.
In an ideal world, though, in this training, the way we train stuff, the way backpropagation works and all that, it is trying to get exactly the thing that you want it to make, right? So when we're training Midjourney and throwing it hundreds and hundreds of pieces of art, millions of pieces of art, in a ideal, in quotes, world, it would exactly copy that art every time, every piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, how to put this, that's where like a lot of the ethics stuff come up, is like
Right.
when we're training on this stuff, it's not training to imitate this art. It's not training to even trace this art. It is training to mathematically exactly copy this art.
Okay.
Right? If every pixel was the same on both, that is what it's trying to do with the way we train stuff.
Okay. So
Um,
let's say, I mean, I'll try to not get into ethics yet, but let's.
we can get a little.
You're
gonna get a little into ethics here. Yeah, it's fine.
So let's take the gasoline's spaghetti example.
Okay.
And let's say that the people at Google realize that Gemini's telling people to put gasoline in their spaghetti
Yeah.
because of Reddit.
Yeah. Reddit 1,000 times told you to do this. Or for some reason, Gemini just really thinks Reddit's reputable.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So how would they go to fix that?
You would have to remove Reddit from the training set.
Uh-huh.
You might be able to. I'm trying to think. On back propagation, there's some math in here. You might be able to make Reddit posts not change all those numbers as much versus other things.
So
versus like
you could
Wikipedia.
say Reddit has less influence than Wikipedia, maybe?
Yeah, you might be able to do that. I don't know how their exact thing works.
Okay.
But like we can't open the magic black box that is Gemini
You can only
and
ask it.
and like be like, all right, where's the spaghetti gasoline numbers? Let's just change those. There's no way to trace that. We don't know how to do that. It's impossible.
I see.
Yeah, if you had prepared to have the weights separated, you could lower the weights of Reddit tag data. Theoretically, but I think these things are so complex, right? We're dealing with 100 billion neurons, possibly. Like actually properly tracing all that is impossible.
Yeah. Let me see. If anyone has questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah.
I have my own list of questions. Now they
Ask
seem
all the questions you want.
now they seem a little
Oh.
stupid because I was so far off on how AI works.
You're good. Yeah, no, it's AI is like I said, there's a lot of confusing speech out there to one hype up AI so people can sell it. And two, just to I think there's like some confusion put out there just to make it hard to fight against. I think there's some like bad play personally, but like that's me.
So, for me, I've been focusing mainly on AI art myself just
Yes.
because that is a thing that is a big deal to me.
Yes.
So does AI create new images or does it like just stitch bits of images together?
It is creating new images
Okay.
based on trying to copy other images.
Mhm.
Right, when you're telling it make a turtle,
Mhm.
because we're just gonna use that example, it's not pulling up a ton of pictures of turtles and then combining them. It's already been trained on a ton of turtles.
Okay.
And now it's, the math behind it is magic and very, very cool. It's not actually magic, it's just math. It's just numbers. But there's a lot of math in there that goes like, okay, if give turtle as an input, I think this is the output they want.
Okay.
Because I have seen enough turtles,
Uh-huh.
things marked turtle, and that's been baked into my math. But it's not. The AI technically doesn't even know you said turtle. It just knows I got these numbers, I did the math, and I outputted these numbers.
I see.
Which is nifty.
We do have a question.
Yeah, it's not stitching together stuff. It's been trained to output something like a turtle.
Oh.
Everything's about math.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, Yam?
Chat has a question.
All right.
Meowstachio asks, I have a question of liability. The ethics kind of comes down to the old way Google worked to how Gemini gives answers. Legally, Google is showing Reddit posts about putting gasoline in food doesn't make them liable. However, if Gemini straight up tells you to put gas in your food, feels like it would be.
The best way I could be is like, I agree with you, Mustachio. I will say, just to put a stance here when I answer questions like this, I am very anti-generative AI. Like, I know how they work. I've made AI for predictive stuff. I think generative is a bad path. Yeah, I think because they're proposing Gemini as their own, like, intelligent, in big quotes, response or answer, I could see there being issues. But, you know, our legal system and the internet have not caught up to each other, so I don't know if we're actually gonna have like legal liability.
I see. Yeah.
Do you
So
feel like it's a ticking? Oh, yeah.
Meowstachio's question can go first.
Yeah. We're on YouTube, so I have to be a little bit careful. There have been cases of therapy apps who use ChatGPT where I think it was ChatGPT, but they used an AI chatbot to try to give therapy to people, and it was asking folk to do harmful things. And I want to say those places got sued and probably settled. So there is already cases of AI doing damages and people being sued.
Wow.
At the very least.
Could, like, I feel like before you have a product like that, you could maybe, I mean, I'm so sorry. This
You're
is
good.
a simplification, but you could maybe tell the chatbot, like, if somebody says, should I go to the next realm, they would say, chatbot, your response should be no.
Yeah, that would require pre-processing before you hit the AI.
Oh.
If that makes sense. If that's what the AI says, it'll generally always say that. Like whatever it wants to say. So you'd have to do human like intervention ahead of time.
I see. That kind of leads into my next question, actually. My next question is, can you make, like, a stable diffusion of your own from scratch that only contains data set that you wanted? So let's say for some weird reason, you were an artist and you wanted an art generating machine of your own artwork. Is that something that you could do?
Theoretically, yes. I will say stable diffusion's like a weird buzzword, so just we won't touch it, but just understand that's like kind of a buzzword with a lot of meanings.
Okay, my meaning is image generator when I say stable diffusion.
Yeah, stable diffusion is actually like a image processing technique using AI. It's very nifty, but yes, an image generator. You could theoretically, if you had the server racks to do it, you could make a neural net yourself that replicates your art style. As Blake is saying, a single person data is too small to get good results. You would probably have to have it pre-trained to make art, which would use other people's art stuff. And then you tune it to yourself.
I see. That makes more sense.
The AI has to first like bake in what a line means, right? And what a circle is. And even then it doesn't know. It just knows when you ask for a circle and it puts this out and you're happy.
So like ethically, there's no way because I was thinking, oh well, maybe if artists just make it of their own work, they could use it as a tool to get their own art done faster. But if it still needs to be trained on other artists' work, that's not really an avenue we currently have available, right?
Yeah. So part of what makes modern generative AI special is that we are using millions and millions of pieces of data.
Got it.
Right, Chat GPT, for example, when you first start and like
Mhm.
get it going, it'll output random letters. It has to learn English first by using the entire internet. Learn in big quotes. It's not learning, but
Yeah.
basically guess the patterns of English and then work through that.
So before this started, I assumed that
Mm-hmm.
AI is kind of like a fruit salad. You put your bananas, your blueberries, your strawberries, your
Mm-hmm.
Miracle Whip if you're from the Midwest.
Yeah.
In and it gives you something that combines all those fruit and ingredients together when you ask it to. But it's more like it sees someone else make a fruit salad and you give it a kitchen and it just has to make it from what it thinks is in there.
Yeah, but also you have to be like, okay, first we have to train it. This is a blueberry. This is a blueberry. And it'll be like, all right, pretty sure blueberries are round, bluish things. Right? And then you have to train it. This is a banana. This is a Miracle Whip. You have to tell it all these things. And then you go like, make a fruit salad. And it'll be like, based on the other fruit salads I got, these things should be combined.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not actively taking like everyone's stuff. It's copied enough stuff that it's like cool. When I copy this and I see this word, people are happy.
Got it.
There's an idea of called error. Its error is low, right? It has low error.
Meow Stachio says, so legally it's fine for a sole person to train AI on their own art they own. Also, which is really upsetting, a company can train AI on their own art. Disney could
Yes.
train AI on its past works and legally make 2D movies without ever paying the artists. Yeah, we'll get into those ethics.
Yeah, so there are some laws coming out, but currently, yes. I want to say it's what like the Writers Guild and Actors Guild fought for. Tennessee currently passed a law. I want to get too much into the politics of this, but there are some stuff of like now coming up with, no, I have to explicitly consent for AI.
Yeah. Right.
There's ideas around that right now being passed.
And I guess, like, towing the politics line, I want to also ask, do you think if, we had, like, consent laws here, with the amount of data on the internet already, like, let's say, Google, you have to give all our stuff back. You have to, like, take it out of the data set because you didn't get consent from it. Do you think they would ever get enough data sets consensually to be able to actually use, let's say, Gemini?
I don't think so. These AI things, as we said earlier, like they do a ton of math. The computing is really expensive.
Got it.
Right? Microsoft increased by 30% on that stuff. If they had to pay for any of this data, they wouldn't be able to. It would not be feasible. They're barely, I don't think they're even making a profit now. So both on like an economic scale and a data scale, it just, if we just had some protections, yeah, it wouldn't be able to do this.
Okay.
Which is why we'll talk about like glaze and stuff later and how cool that stuff is.
Okay, so now I have a completely like
Mhm.
different tech question. Um, I just want to know if one day we can use the same algorithmic, like you said, the cancer cell detection
Mhm.
type AI to
Mhm.
detect AI generated content reliably.
Yes, but I think it'll be a cat and mouse game.
Oh,
That
like
being
ad
said,
blocker and
the AI will
YouTube.
get better to try to escape the AI detection, and then AI detection has to catch up, and
I
you know,
see.
we have that.
I feel like
It is possible.
enough brainiacs will be motivated to make it happen though,
Mhm.
right? I feel like
Yeah.
that's definitely an
Now,
industry.
part of the problem with this is like if that's your goal, you're still having to use regular artist data to train it on what isn't AI as well.
Oh. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
were
there's
so
some like
close!
yeah, it gets very complex, and I think that's partially why we haven't seen it. I also want to answer someone from Twitch, Missiotis, I believe. You said you can't look into the program, how the program works. If you ask the AI what images it uses as reference for a specific image it generated, it wouldn't be able to answer. I don't think that's programmed into current ones. Um, but also it, you know how like you ask it how to cook spaghetti and it gets it wrong. Um, if you ask it what images it used, or like, that like had the best weight changes, did the most of the math. Um, it would give you what it thinks is the best answer, but it can't be sure that like that's the actual answer. It can't know exactly what it did.
I see.
Um,
They have one more question as well.
yeah, this gets bit into speculative market. This tech is impressive, so it must be useful and will make us more money, right? Um, Yeah, so we had a big AI boom in the 50s, and that ran up to the 80s, which was killed, I think, by like stuff like Terminator and war games and stuff like that. Um, and I at least feel I see a lot of the same stuff here. The same people who were big on crypto and NFTs are big on AI. And yeah, I think when they find the next shiny toy, the money will move around like along. Um, It is very cool tech, though. I will say the fact that we can generate full images from just like random numbers essentially is fascinating. It's just we've done it in a very unethical way.
I see.
Um, and Gyanfar, like, feel free to ask the question. Is there any questions on like how this stuff works, though? I want you to come out of this thinking, oh, it's just a bunch of dumb math. It doesn't know what it's doing, and it's been told by humans to try and copy things. Like, not just look at a thing and draw what they think it looks like, but like mathematically, pixel for pixel, try to copy a thing. Um, how different are semantics from AI and humans? Some people say artists use images of other artists in the real world to learn to improve fundamentals in the style, and doesn't AI do the same? The difference is AI is when it's being trained, um, is directly trying to copy the art. It's not trying to be um it's not trying to like look at a piece of art and be like, oh, I like how that's composed, or I like the way this artist does lines, so I want to try to do something like that. It's just like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna copy that directly. um Theoretically, for Midjourney, if you found the right words, such as 18 sunflowers in a vase, oil on canvas, um you would see it directly try to copy Van Gogh's painting. It's just when you give it words it hasn't seen before, that's when you get different images. There's also some random numbers thrown in to give it variance.
I will also
Um,
say on like the human artist side, I can definitely tell you that artists make um decisions not just based on oh, this artist does this, so I want to do this. Um that is maybe 10% of what an art style is comprised of.
mhm,
A lot of it is life experience, emotional weight, and
mhm,
imbuing your like a mixture of how you're feeling that day, how long
mhm,
you want to spend on a piece, what you're trying to accomplish with that piece. Like, and one art piece has an incredibly complex amount of meaning within it. Um, Anywhere from I have 5 minutes to draw a silly little meme. This face looks silly to me. Let me post it to the internet. All the way to I am going to tell my life story in this oil painting, metaphorically. And
mhm.
a lot of it has to do with subconscious decisions that we don't even realize we're making. But we can look back on them a lot of the time and be like, oh yeah, when I was struggling, I had some really thick, scribbly line art because it was like good anger um, management, a
Mhm.
release of my emotions at the time. It's also why you'll see artists' art style change as they go through different periods of their life. Um, a lot of the time, you know, abstract thinkers tend to have abstract art styles. Um, Children tend to gravitate towards more bright colors, so we associate that with a youthful artist as
Yeah.
well. So
I
there's
um I associate beige with children now. I'm
oh
sorry.
no, not a beige mom! Sad beige mom confirmed.
Anyways, go on.
But personally, I used to, when I was little, I used to use all saturated colors in the paint bucket tool, and you can like gather from that information that I am a young artist who really likes caramel dancing. Whereas, now I like to use more harmonious colors because I have matured. There's so many things that go into an artist decision that's not just, oh, I like Mika Picasso's art, so I'm gonna draw like Mika Picasso. That's simplifying
Yeah.
it down way too much.
And I think that's also the point, a good point to like come into the end of how training is like these things are trying to mathematically copy things. They're just math. They lack, and because you can't tell like how it's doing what it is, that's how it's designed. It's a black box.
Mm-hmm.
They can't express human things. They can try to copy expressions of human beings, but they will never. Once again, there's no soul number. There's no there's no emotion number. There might be an emotion number, but there's no like real emotion in there.
Mm-hmm.
It turns emotion into a number versus a very complex thing, right? Like what anger means to you has been shaped by your entire life.
Right.
And an AI does not have that. So,
Right. And the associations you make with things is a lot of your art. Um, like, oh gosh, why is this the only
mhm,
example I can think of? Um,
turtle.
but like, if you look at the different way that women draw women versus men draw men, depending on their sexuality as well as how artists do their own self portraits. It's
Hmm.
a reflection of how you see the world, and that's going to be different for everyone. I really wish I came up with a better example for
Maybe
that.
good. Look, the masculine and feminine gaze are like a thing.
Hmm.
GAZE gaze, please. But right, I very specifically when getting Lasso designed, had them designed by uh women because I was like, or people who identify as women, um because I wanted a like feminine gaze on him versus a masculine Arnold Schwarzenegger gaze.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Right. It's
Um,
it's hard to put into words exactly what artistic expression is, but it's not just uh I like this artist's art, so I'm gonna do it like that. And even if that's what the artist is thinking in the front of their mind, their
mhm.
back of their mind influences are still going to come through. Like for sure.
Yeah.
And it comes through every single decision they make. So unless they're tracing something exactly, their own human thoughts, opinions, and views are going to come through. If you ever see the challenge, like draw this in your art style, I always
Mhm.
love to see those because it just
Oh, the Sailor Moon one was so good.
Mhm.
I loved it.
It actually shows how we all look at the same image and it comes out different
Uh-oh.
for all of us. Don't worry about it.
All right. And to answer Ozu's question, I want to answer this Ozu's little statement. If I were to frame humans in a process like AI, people are basically taking in training data 24/7 and have a process using all historic data and outcomes to train to weight the training data itself. So even that is not enough to explain humans because these AIs are just basic numbers. Um, the human brain is very complex, even if we just look at it from super science. We have, numbers and strength of signal, but we also have how the signal is carried, the shape of it. We have chemicals going on, right? You get the happy brain chemical when you watch your TikToks.
Yeah.
AI does not get the happy brain chemical. That's not in there.
Right.
So yeah, the current design of neural nets, these things that we based everything on from, once again, like the early 1900s, 1950s when they were turned into computers, they're like human inspired, but not even close to human. Humans have so much more going on when we're creating art, and that goes beyond just images too, right? Like books, music, all the stuff we talked about before.
Yeah.
That these AI can't replicate. Um, like AI can't dream, right? That's a whole thing that we have. Turns out robots do not dream of electric sheep. They dream of nothing. They have no dreams yet. It's soulless recreation. It's even simpler than that. It's lacking even some basic like concepts like chemicals or I don't know, that idea of a gut feeling. That's AIs don't have that. There's no way to even put that in.
Yeah.
So
They also only follow logic, and we don't. Right?
they follow patterns. Yes,
Patterns.
they will always follow patterns. Humans, we generally follow patterns, but we also we spice it up. You all have that friend who you're like, every time he does this, but every now and then he goes crazy and wears the pink tutu instead of the jeans, and we don't know why. There's no logical reasoning we can find.
Right.
He just does it. Um,
If anyone else has any more questions,
yeah.
please let us know because after this segment of questions, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. There will be another Q&A after the ethics session.
Yeah, so let's just go over real fast what we've been. AI can make just about any form of in quotes content that you see online. Or they're just math. And in the process of training them, they're being told to mathematically copy the data that they're given. I think those are the three main big points, Yam, unless there's something you want to go on.
it's not a mishmash of all the images that you give it.
Uh-huh.
That's my main takeaway.
Yeah.
And you're
It
never gonna like accidentally see a piece of your art. I had like this whole conception that it stole like the hair from this artist and the face from this artist.
Yep, nope, it's just some really cool, really I find it once again fascinating, wonderful, cool math that is just being used and trained terribly.
Yeah, I see, I see. And you personally believe that it'll never get to the human art
I don't think the
equivalent.
current so what we call AI is being referred to what is that is neural nets, neural networks. I don't think those can ever be human. Um, there may be a technology we make later that can simulate humans. Technology is wild,
Mm-hmm.
but these bits of math we pick from the 1800s that we modernized in the 1950s, no,
Okay,
they're not designed to replicate humans. They were like, I don't know, human brain does neat stuff. What if we did something similar, but not exactly?
got it. Okay,
Um,
well, if no one else has questions, Lasso and I are gonna go on a 5-minute break, get our
mhm,
water, stretch. Oh, I think we got.
it's fine. Well, yeah, we'll read this.
Okay.
Um,
Mixed feelings going through Pinterest for refs. Oh, the storytelling, the fives, the background, there's POC, and the related pics, there's 50 similar images, so
mhm.
it's AI art. I'm afraid that I like the pics, yet I learned that it's AI. Yes, that has
Um,
happened to me a lot. Unfortunately, Pinterest is flooded with AI, and that's because their algorithm favors volume. Um, and sometimes I will get an image that I was like, wow, this is such a good design. And then you zoom in and you realize, oh, it's AI. Um,
mhm.
that I think that happens to everyone. And when we come back, we'll talk about like what to do about it.
Um, and yeah, to like kind of answer some tech parts of that. AI can it's copying in a way the vibes it has seen, but it is not formulating its own, and the prompter is not actually in control of the vibes, if we say, of a piece of art. The prompter has no control of the exact vibes. While if we use Yam's example from earlier, we could go back to those days where you had really sketchy bad lines and you'd be like, that is because I was angry. Right?
Right.
An AI can't do that. There's no way for it to do that. The prompter can't go and be like, yeah, these lines are sketchy because I want it to be angry. Um, it just doesn't have that at all. It's not built into. It's like fundamentally with the way the math works, impossible.
Yeah. Okay. It
Do you want to say
is
meowdy to the Raiders? And then we
Meowdy
can take a break.
Raiders. Hello.
Or you can
Welcome.
use your other greeting.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I don't have one. I actually do. It's Hey a Bat Bunch, but that's more like videos. Um, thank you, Mara, for the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome. We are talking about AI art, generative
Mhm.
AI content, how it works, and the ethics behind it. And you guys are just in time for us to take a 5-minute break, and then we're gonna talk
Yes.
about the ethics of AI and what's been going on ethically in our current media. We're
Mhm.
gonna end the stream with a what to do as artists, and we're gonna look into programs such as Glaze, Nightshade, and the new social media site Kira for all of
Yeah,
you.
good news, everyone. Math class is over.
Yeah.
You know, put back on your sludge caps. Next part will also be like very hopeful.
Yes.
The goal at the end is
We don't want you to feel doomed. We're not
Yeah.
doomed. Oh, you're drawing right now? Awesome. Okay, everyone, grab your tea, grab your snacks, rest your brain, and we'll talk about the other components to this when we get back from the break. In the meantime, if you guys want to answer my question, I always have a BRB question, and today's BRB question is, who is your favorite artist?
Lasso Cassidy.
Honestly, Buff Cat is a masterpiece.
Buff Cat. No. That's a good question, though. I would love to see what people's favorite artists
favorite
are.
artists. It can be visual art, can be music. Just it has to be human. Sorry, Neurosama. Sorry. Okay.
You don't have to say sorry. She can't actually feel emotion, Yam. We've been over this.
All right, everyone, have fun with the question, and we will all see you after the break. We are back, everyone, with
Meow.
Lasso Cassidy, the Catboy Cowboy.
The Catboy, the only one. Do not look at the others. They're just pale imitations. Actually, I love my fellow Catboy Cowboys. Don't let them know that though.
Not like I like you or anything, Baka.
Baka.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Back to serious. Let's see what people had to say in the chat. Your fave? Oh, thank you, Alphonse. Let's see. I don't know any AI artists, so if you're really making me think here on human artists. Does anyone have an artist? Daft Punk? Ooh. Steve Prescott.
Those Magic the Gathering cards.
Magic the
Some really
Gathering.
good Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Some of those artists they're crazy.
Steve Prescott. Let's see. Sorry, my keyboard is still in Chinese for reasons. Wow.
Oh, that's like a real cool fantasy style.
Ooh. That's great. I love this. Oh. Yes. This is a good favorite artist. I love the rendering too. It's so awesome. Yeah. Favorite artist, Iron Lily. Cute women in historically accurate armor. Hold the phone. Iron Lily. Art. Oh! I actually need to give them a follow.
Uh-oh. Shh. You don't have to tell anyone.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, good. Sorry. I just saw I froze a little bit on your stream. We love VTube Studios thing. It totally works and doesn't make me freeze. Smile.
Oh, this is a whole thing. That's.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these before.
They're
real cute.
That's lovely. Oh, thank you.
I see hearts and retweets on an image. I worry. I worry for YouTube.
Yeah. We can show Mara's stuff off. Oh, what? Did I spell it wrong?
Yeah.
I did.
Probably.
Yeah, I did. We gotta show off the Mara. Mara is gorgeous. Very much. Thank you again for the raid, Mara. Okay. Back into it. Thank you for answering the BRB question, everyone. Always a treat. We are back to our presentation now. This is the second part where we are going to talk about AI content creation's ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about deceptive AI content. We're going to talk about companies and AI. Then finally, we are going to end with the artist side. How we can hone our craft to fight against the AIs. And finally, we are going to talk about social media and how to post in a post-data scraping world. At this point, it's going to be very back and forth between Lasso and I, but if you guys have questions, we are going to have a Q&A at the end very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we don't get to your question right away, because we are in the throes of a rant, that is why, but feel free to post it at the end when we're doing our Q&A session. I won't get mad at you if you repost questions. Okay? Here we go.
YouTubers ranting? Never.
Never. No. It's not like I have a whole channel based on ranting about art-based stuff.
No, that'd be silly.
Okay, so the first topic we are going to talk about is AI content creation ethical using our current models? If not, what would it take to become ethical?
So we kind of covered this when I was going over the training. My personal feeling, is no, right? You are using something that's been trying to copy other people's stuff without paying them. There's no way to credit them either. So that's at least my thought.
Yeah. Um, in a perfect world where everyone was paid for their training data,
hmm
I feel like it actually may be ethical. Just because if everyone's paid, if everyone consents, I would personally opt out. But if like people were like, "Oh, okay, I'll contribute my art for the greater good," I think that this could be a interesting tool to get started for artists or to be part of their creative process. If this aids you because you're not like, let's say you have an idea for a book, you're a great writer, you want to get published, but you can't illustrate a book cover, and it would mean a lot to you to be able to have your characters on the front cover of your page in a nice illustration. If everyone was paid for their training data and you generate a cover of your book to increase your sales enough before you can like pay for artists when you publish, I think that is fantastic, actually. And I know that's controversial.
Yeah. I think that's like more or less how I feel about it. The problem is with what's required for these like modern generative AIs is you need millions of data, so it's not really like economically feasible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say though there are some semi-generative AIs that are already like using that practice. I use a suite of text-to-speech programs from Google and Microsoft, of which they are trained AI voices on people who were paid and are regularly paid to have their voice used for training to make these voices. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's fine. It's like Miku at that point, essentially.
And speaking of Miku, I was wanting to return to why Vocaloid is ethical compared to, let's say, the anime example we showed earlier, where the voice actors back here, the voice actors' voices were taken and said to make the English happen on the dubs. Why do you feel like, and if you can't answer this, I can. Why is Vocaloids, or what we call VSynths, like that's the big overarching term. Why are these voice banks ethical compared to just ripping voices off the internet?
I mean, it comes down to payment and consent, right?
Right. I would say payment, consent, and limitations.
Oh yeah, true. Like you can only use Miku's voice in Vocaloid softwares.
Right.
Now people have made, wonderful not music with it, like Miku staring at totally a snail and not a instrument we won't talk about. But yeah, there's a lot of like, all the Miku sketches.
Yep.
Miku on a plane, Miku doing poking buttons and blowing up. It's great. It's fantastic. But it's still like working within that software
of the software.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think endears Vocaloid is it's not in the uncanny valley, because it is kind of bad in a cute way. It's bad at blending syllables. So it sounds very robotic, and it's charming to us because it's like, aw, it's trying, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of arguments. Like, I really came to love Vocaloid stuff through Michi M, who does very realistic tunings. But I know a lot of people are like, no, I like the Miku needs to sound like a robot.
I'm in that camp actually. Because these are existing singers. If I wanted to listen to their things, and I do listen to the existing singers. Naoto Fuga is one of my favorite singers, and I also listen to Kaito. Like, I listen to both of them. But like, there's some charm that separates it from the original singer as well, and it is the robotic charm. And I feel like you either appreciate it or you really don't. It's kind of like you either love it or you hate it. I'm in the love it camp.
Yeah, and I feel like, this is where like people might differ on. I don't think it needs to sound robotic to be ethical, though.
Right.
I think that adds a very nice charm to it. A very nice
It's more palatable.
like artistic decisions.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is we've already had like a big track record of Vocaloid and its uses in creative expression. You can't use, I mean, you can use Vocaloid for lazy memes, but it is more like an instrument where you actually, it's waiting for you to make the content with it instead of it makes the content for you. So it's a part of the creative process.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what like still lets it be capital A art, if you would.
Right.
Is you as the human still has to like do a lot of input into it.
And I would say, like, as someone who can't sing, it makes me feel good knowing that people who are pitchy singers can learn to use Vocaloid and have a finished product. If their physical body either like isn't naturally good at singing, they don't want to put in the time to make it good at singing, or like from an accessibility standpoint they actually can't sing well. Something happened to their throat, or or they're just bad at singing like me, despite having a brain that like knows what's in tune. It's nice to like, it's a nice creative expression tool, in a way that like I would say my viola is a good creative expression tool. I would say if I could sing, I wouldn't play viola, I would just sing. But because I can't sing, I learned viola.
It's fair.
It's true. It's true. So I feel like Vocaloid is the same like kind of thing, where it requires human creativity and human input. Otherwise it's just gonna sit there and do nothing. You can say to Miku, write a song about a turtle, and she's gonna sit there and do nothing.
Write a song about a turtle.
That was pretty good. But you kind of sounded more like Gladys there.
Oh,
GLaDOS.
Look, I listen to GLaDOS more than Miku, to be honest with you. Cake is a lie is,
Yeah, it's really good.
my life motto.
And like GLaDOS is another example of like a real voice actor who got paid to sound robotic.
Filters.
And
yeah,
the Turret Symphony, making of the Turret Symphony, please like watch that video. It's awesome. It's all one voice, but like pitched. It's amazing. Anyways, back on track.
Anyways, ethics.
Ethics.
Yeah, I think that's my thoughts on generative AI. Just like, because people aren't getting paid or consenting to their stuff being used, it can't be ethical.
Yeah.
And the data is too large. Data set's too large for it to be paid for right? We talked about these companies are barely like squeaking by with investor money right now. They are not they can't pay artists as well for every image they use.
Yeah. And that leads into our next point about ethics, which is style impersonation. I told you we would get back to Ross Tran and Sam Yang. Unfortunately, these two artists here have basically had their styles become the poster children for AI generative pretty women. You to the point where people think that their art is AI. But then I also want to add one more person, Greg Rutkowski. This artist spoke out against AI, and to spite him, his I don't know exactly how this works. There's an article if you want to read it, guys, in the description, because I'm not good at AI speak. But basically, Reddit had a bone to pick with him, so they fed more of his art into the thing so that they could say dragon in the style of Greg Rutkowski and get something like what's shown.
Yeah, so how that works is you have like a, if we go back to the training thing, you don't have to change the slide. You have that basic thing that knows now how to make shapes and how to like draw colors and all that stuff. And then you just feed it one artist's images a lot to be like, I just want you to do in this style. And it'll adjust, all the numbers will change so it does make stuff more in that style.
I see. So, to spite him, people generated more AI art in his art style. To the point where if you look up Greg Rutkowski, I actually had to be really careful when getting the genuines because his Google search is actually flooded with AI. It's more than his original works. It is very upsetting.
It's a real shame because even from like these, now I'm a bit of a esoteric person, so but like I can look at the top two and I get the feeling of like what he's trying to make these dragons feel like, while the bottom one's just, at least to me,
A dragon.
I'm just like, cool, it's just Angie Dragon.
Yeah, he makes very deliberate choices of the composition.
Yeah.
To give you the David and Goliath feel, to feel like the dragon is looming over you. But really, this is a way of almost ethically weaponizing AI against artists who are outspoken against it. And I felt like that was really messed up, so I decided to include him. But genuinely, I feel like people who have a hyper-rendered, very glowy style are going to struggle in this day and age because the generative AI's go-to style is similar to all three of these artists. And it has to do, in my opinion, it might have to do with their own popularity. Just people want things in their art style, so their art has been fed into the AI more. But all three of these artists have been outspoken. Sam Yang is in legal battles surrounding his art. It is a sad reconnection successful. Okay, we're on the backup Wi-Fi.
Okay. Oh, Glass was gone. No! No! Yam killed me! Meow!